Hey everybody, it's Katie again. Welcome to Cooking with Z Olive. But actually, as you can tell, we are actually not at Z Olive tonight. I am doing this from my own kitchen at home because it was a bit of a more involved recipe tonight. So instead of trying to pick all of that up and take it to Z Olive, I'm just doing it from home here for you guys. I'm gonna be using our roasted garlic olive oil tonight, but really for pizza, you can use any of the olive oils that Z Olive offers. You can use even just the plain olive oils, it doesn't matter. I just really like the roasted garlic because I think garlic is delicious on pizza. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make pizza from scratch, dough and everything. I've been doing this recipe for a really long time because it's a way cheaper option instead of pizza delivery that I would do in college for myself, and that's when I figured out how to make this. So let's get started. If you guys do have any questions, you can ask in the comments. Since I am at home and kind of doing this on my own tonight, if I do miss your comment when it pops up on my screen, I will answer it after the video in the comment section. So let's get started. First, let me turn the video on so I can try to see your comments. I'm going to put it on my laptop here. Alright. So first, you're not going to need that many ingredients actually for this recipe. A lot of people think it'd be a little bit more intense, but it's not. So first what you're going to need, I've already got everything measured out here just to make this a little easier on myself. But you're going to need 2 cups of flour. I'm just using plain all-purpose flour, but you can really use anything. You can do almond flour, you can do, like, if you have a special gluten-free flour, any of it works. So we're just going to put that down in our mixing bowl here. Next, the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of sugar, just granulated sugar. Next, 1 teaspoon of salt. You can use any salt, but I like the pink Himalayan sea salt. I think it's a little bit healthier. Hey, how are you, Jerry? I'm going to put that on down in there. My salt's been sitting in my cup a little while, so it's a little stuck. Alright, and then finally the last dry ingredient, you're going to need yeast. I'm using just a regular active dry yeast tonight, but I think some grocery stores do carry a specific yeast just for pizza. I will use the one usually that's for pizza because it does seem to work a little bit better, but it's okay to use just the regular yeast as well. It's what I'm using tonight, and I've used it a million times and it does work. So I'm just going to put that in there. I didn't have it pre-opened, I meant to. Alright, and that's all you need for your dry ingredients. I'm just going to mix that up real quick. It doesn't have to be mixed super well. Alright, finally there's only 2 of our wet ingredients. First, you're going to need 1/4 cup of your olive oil. And like I said, tonight I am using our roasted garlic olive oil, but I have done it with our regular garlic infused. I've done it with the sun-dried Parmesan and the Tuscan herb. All of them have been really good so far. So you really can do any of the flavors, like I said, that Z Olive carries. I was about to put more in there, but I do already have this measured out at 1/4 cup. So I'm going to pour that right in there. And finally, you need warm water. You do want to make sure your water is warm, and I've got 1/2 cup here. The warm makes the yeast activate, so you want to make sure you do have warm water. That just goes right in there. And it is going to look like you don't have enough wet ingredients for the amount of dried ingredients, but you're just going to give that a good mix. See if anyone is asking me any questions. This is, like I said, a really super easy recipe. I figured it out myself in college, and I'm not a professional, so if I can do it at home, you certainly can do it as well, trust me. You're gonna wait for it to get about like this. It's gonna look a little crusty, a little bit like cookie dough would. So at that point, once you kind of have it not so sticky and slimy, you can just start with your hands kneading it, and you're gonna knead it into the actual dough. Now, in its better days, but it still works really well. So before I put my crust down onto the pan, I do take the olive oil and I just drizzle a little bit on there. That way your crust isn't gonna stick to the Wi-Fi. I think it'll work a little bit better. So yeah, so we have our crust here. I've got it pretty spread out. And then you're just gonna transfer this. I've put the roasted garlic olive oil on my pan as well. And spread it out. Now, as far as you spread it, it's kind of up to you. It just depends on how thick you're wanting your crust. I spread it usually a little bit thinner than what I'm wanting it to be. Not too much, but just a little bit because the yeast will rise a tiny bit. Alright, and then once you have it pretty well spread out there, it's time for the fun part. You're going to put your toppings on. Alright, so there we go. So first, before I put my sauce on, I go back with another little bit of olive oil and drizzle it on the crust there. And you can kind of just spread it around with one of these fancy little brushes, or I usually just use my hand. I've washed my hands, don't worry. Especially if you're making this for other people, be sure to wash your hands. But yeah, that just helps the crust to kind of crust up a little bit more and get a little bit more browned. Alright, so after that, my hands are going to be very moist. You're going to take your pasta sauce or your pizza sauce. You can use any of your favorite brands. It doesn't really matter what you use. From here, it's all just kind of personal preference. So I'm just going to put some of this on here real quick. Alright. Maybe a little bit more. I might not have gotten quite enough on there. I'm not a big sauce fan, but I probably need a little bit more than that. But like I said, yeah, you can pretty much personalize it from here. You can have a little bit more fun with some Zeolive products, which is what I have done. Before this started, I didn't show you guys this on camera because I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I sauteed some spinach, garlic, and onions in the roasted garlic olive oil, and then I put a little bit of Toscana in the balsamic vinegar right before it was done, so that way it got a little bit of that Toscana flavoring as well. So you can use your balsamic for your toppings on your pizza. And next we're going to need cheese, which I forgot to grab out of my refrigerator. I just use mozzarella, but you can use like a 3-cheese blend. You can do Romano, whatever you like, any kind of white Italian cheese. And like I said, I'm not a professional chef, but I am a very big fan of pizza. So my little tip that I like to do is I only put half the cheese on my pizza first. Then I go back and put my toppings on and then the rest of the cheese. So that way your toppings are kind of baked into the cheese instead of rather just sitting on top of the cheese. That's probably good enough. Alright, and then I'm going to take my veggies here that I had waiting and just kind of sprinkle them around. For this one I'm doing a veggie pizza. As you guys can see, they're still a little hot, so I'm going to quit using my fingers before I burn myself. Alright, so you would just spread that around on there. That's not spread very well, but I will spread it better before I put it in the oven. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of black olives on there too. Alright, so then you would just put another layer of mozzarella. You don't want to put too much because you don't want this to be super unhealthy. We do want to try to keep it as healthy as possible, but sometimes I will sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan on there as well. So as soon as you do that, you're going to put it in your oven. Before you start this process, you'll want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and I usually put it in there around 25 to 30 minutes depending on how thick my crust is going to be. You can just keep checking it. You just want it slightly kind of golden brown like you're baking biscuits or something like that. So yeah, from here you would just put it right in the oven. And earlier today, or not earlier, right before I started this, I made another pizza. This one was pepperoni and black olive, and I think it came out really well. Here's the whole pizza here. If I can pick it up. Board here. So I made this a little bit earlier. And the last thing I'm going to show you is you can actually use your balsamic vinegar on your pizza as well as a topping. So here I have our smoked balsamic vinegar. That's one of my favorites. I think it goes really well with the pepperoni. And I don't have a pour spout, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but you just want to drizzle a tiny bit over your pizza. Kind of like so. And there you have it. If you guys enjoyed this recipe and you want to make your own, I will put a link to the roasted garlic olive oil in the comments section when I'm done with this video. Also, if you have any questions about any of our products, if you'd like to see us use one of our products in a recipe, or if you have a recipe you'd like to share with us and like to see us do on here, let us know. You can order any of these products at www.theolive.com. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen tonight, and I hope you guys have a great pizza dinner. See you next time.